Hey, good morning, class. We're going to start injuries, traumatic injuries, and those include soft tissue wounds, burns, skeletal injuries, and muscular injuries, and everything that falls in between. Um, this can be graphic, um, so if you don't have a stomach for it, we got to find a workaround. But we're going to start with wounds and when somebody's bleeding. Um, for a lot of people, traumatic injuries is the leading cause of death. And who are those people? Children through people in their 20s, because that leads to shock. So the loss of blood leads to shock, and that's the first major problem. We need to stop the bleeding. We don't want the person to go into shock. The second leading issue is infection. Um, we have to avoid infection, whether that's from an injury or a burn. Okay. We do not want the person to become infected. Okay. So we're going to break these lessons up into little lessons. And the first one is bleeding.
To care for someone with an open wound, begin by covering the wound with a sterile gauze pad and applying direct pressure until the bleeding stops.
Okay. Now, they say begin. Notice she's wearing gloves. You want to check the scene, remove anything that could injure yourself. Make sure you're wearing gloves. Make sure you're wearing a mask, unless the person's in your bubble.
If blood soaks through the first gauze pad, put another one on top and press harder to apply more direct pressure.
So notice the victim is helping stopping the blood. The first person who can apply direct pressure if you don't have gloves is the victim.
Apply more direct pressure.
Okay, here we go.
It may take several minutes for bleeding to stop. Do not remove any gauze pads. If the bleeding does not stop, call 911 if you have not already done so. Continue to care for the person and monitor for shock.
So I'm going to check your circulation, okay?
Okay.
Okay. I need you to replace my hand right here. Very good.
Just like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
So this is an important final
Once
step.
bleeding is controlled, check for circulation beyond the injury. Note the temperature and color of the skin and ask the person if
We're going to do this for anytime we apply dressing. Dressings are used to soak up blood, and a bandage used to wrap an injury, whether that's a skeletal injury. We don't want to make it so tight that it cuts off blood.
tingling or numbness.
Any numbness or tingling of any kind?
No.
Okay. So I'm just going to get a bandage. Okay, I want you to just hold that for a moment, all right?
Okay.
Place the end of the bandage on the dressing at a 45-degree angle. Continue wrapping the bandage over the dressing.
Yeah, thank you for holding that for me.
No problem.
Thank you. You're a good assistant.
Thank you.
We'll get this done.
So one of the good things is she's always talking to the patient, explaining what she's doing.
Once the dressing is covered, roll out the remaining length of bandage. While holding the bandage, use the index finger of the other hand to split the bandage in half, moving it down and underneath the limb.
Hey, if you can do this,
Bring
great.
up the two ends of the bandage
If you
and
can't,
tie
no
them
big
in
deal.
a bow or a knot.
Just whatever you can do to get that bandage secure.
Okay, so I'm going to check your circulation again, okay?
Again,
Okay.
important step.
Check again for circulation beyond the injury. If there is any change, the bandage may be too tight, and you will need to carefully loosen the bandage.
Feel any numbness or tingling or anything like that?
No.
After the bandage is appropriately applied, remove your gloves and wash your hands.
Okay. If you have questions on that, please message me, or I'll put a discussion in if you have any questions. Okay. I'm going to stop that there, and we'll go on to the next segment another time.